Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you, Your Honor?
Good. So she's back from medical?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
morning.
Hey, good morning. You guys ready?
Yes, ma'am. Everybody stand up, ma'am.
Y'all can put your face mask up.
Oh, late. Those people.
Now scoot in so she can see y'all.
Would everybody raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the information that you tell the court today will be the truth? If so, say I do and lower your hands. You can have a seat. All right, so this is your first appearance here today at Clayton County Magistrate Court. I'm Judge Bando. I'm not here to have a trial in your case, take a plea in your case. As you see, there are no officers and no witnesses. The only thing, the purpose for today's hearing is for me to let you know what you're charged with, and if you have a bond amount, how much your bond is going to be. You have a right to have a presumption of innocence. You have the right to have a grand jury to indict your case on most felonies. You have a right to accusation if you've been charged with a misdemeanor. You have a right to a speedy and public jury trial. You have a right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses called to testify against you. You have a right to compel witnesses to come and testify in your favor. And you have a right to present your own evidence and your own defense. And you also have a right to have an attorney to assist you with this process. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from the jail, which may be by cash, which you would literally bring the cash amount of your bond amount to the jail, and that would secure your release. And when the case is over, that cash amount would be returned to you minus some administrative fees. Or you can go through a bonding company. If you go through a bonding company, they charge about 15% of whatever your total bond amount is set at to secure your release. That 15% is what they charge. That's the cost of their doing business to securing your release. And then finally, you can use property. If you decide to use a property bond, the property in question has to have the equity amount of at least 3 times the amount of whatever your bond amount is. Whoever is, let's see, oh yeah, special conditions. If you have special conditions on your bond, such as I may prohibit you from contacting a certain person or going to a certain place. If you violate the court's order and you contact a person that I've asked you not to have contact with, or you go to a location where you have been asked not to return to as a condition of your bond will be revoked and you'll be charged with aggravated stalking, in which you won't get a bond until your trial date, and you can be sentenced up to 20 years and a fine up to $25,000. So it's very important that you follow the court's order. As a matter of fact, there's several of you that are charged with aggravated stalking, and you won't get a bond because it's alleged that you have violated the court's order. So please take that seriously and don't violate the court's order. If a person is listed as a victim on your bond, they will not be allowed to post a bond for you. You'll have to get somebody else to do that. Finally, you all will have to make a decision, each of you today, as to whether you would like to keep what we refer to as your preliminary hearing. What a preliminary hearing is, the state would have to prove that it's probable that you have committed the crime that you are alleged to have committed. That's a low standard. All they have to prove is that it's probable that it's committed. So if you decide that you want to keep your preliminary hearing and have the state prove that it's probable that you committed the crimes of charge, if you're charged with a felony, the next time you will come to court will be on June the 30th. If you're charged with a misdemeanor, the next time you will come to court will be June the 29th. Now, if you make your bond, then you don't have to worry about those court dates. You will get notice in the mail when to come back to court. So those dates are for people for whatever reason, either because you don't have a bond or because you're unable to make your bond and you decide to keep your preliminary hearing, that will be the next time that you come to court. So keep that in mind, because each one of you will have to let me know whether you want to keep your preliminary hearing or not, because each one of you have the ability to waive your preliminary hearing. And if you're unsure about whether you want to waive it or if you want to keep it, then it's best that you speak with an attorney first, because you can always waive it later. Now, with all that being said, we'll get started, and we'll start with the females first. The first one I have is Miss Davis. Are you Miss Davis?
Yes, for your facing.
Miss Davis, you've been charged with DUI. Let's say if your bond is 3,000, improper lane change is 500, open container is 500. So your total bond amount is $4,000. Would you like to keep your preliminary hearing, or would you like to waive it?
Keep it, I guess.
Okay. Your preliminary
I'm sorry, the preliminary hearing is when they have to prove it that
is probable. That is probable that you committed the crime that you're alleged. Which is
I can waive it. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No problem. So when you complete the waiver paperwork, because I've been having a problem with that, after you sign your name, make sure you also print your name so that I know that that form belongs to you, because everybody doesn't have a legible signature.
Okay.
They'll give you the paperwork, so sign it with your signature and also print your name so that I know that that form belongs to you. So you'll get notice when to come back to court in the mail.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
And so now my family, they're able to post a bail for me.
Yeah, so I still physically have the paperwork here with me now. So when we finish everybody today, the jail will have the paperwork to put it in the system, so they'll be able to bond you out today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, Ms. Johnson, Lakeisha Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Johnson, you've been charged with aggravated stalking. Your bond has been denied. And you've been charged with simple battery. That bond is 2,000. Another simple battery is 2,000, and public drunk is 1,000. Do you want to waive, or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I really don't even understand it.
So because you don't understand it, we'll keep it, and so you can speak with an attorney first and decide whether you want to waive it at a later date. But if not, you can keep it. So your court date will be on June the 30th. And that can always be changed. You have an opportunity to speak with an attorney. And I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. So that means I don't have a bond.
No, not on the aggravated stalking, because it's alleged that you violated the court's TPO. And so because of that, you can't get a bond at first appearance. It doesn't mean you can't get one later, but just not at your very first appearance until the DA's office and your attorney have an opportunity to actually investigate. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
No, she's keeping her hearing.
Okay. You can go back to your house.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Hirschberg.
What's your favorite?
Richburg.
Richburg. Oh, Your Honor, she's in medical.
Okay. All right, so Miss will be next.
Miss Mosley.
All right, Miss Mosley, you've been charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. That bond is 1,500, and given a false name is 500. So your total bond is $2,000. Do you want to keep your preliminary hearing, or would you like to waive it?
I can keep it because you said I can always come back and waive it, right?
Yeah, you can, yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So the court date will be June 29th. And if you make bond, you don't have court. They'll send you notice when they come back. And based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any other questions?
So after I post the bud, you guys will send me a letter with a new court date, so don't keep that one?
Yeah, so if, yeah, if you make the bond, you don't come back on that date. They'll send you, and send it to you in the mail. That's exactly right.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Go back to,
You said Ms. Stinchcomb, she's here.
yes, ma'am, she's from, pull your face mask up, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you've been charged with simple assault. The bond is 7,000. Can't have any contact with Tiffany McGowan and Ashanti Tech Millage. You can't go back to 165 Meadowlark Lane in Jonesboro, Georgia.
I own that house. I own that house. They rent across the street. Matter of fact, they're not even renting, they're squatters.
What's your address?
165 Meadowlark Lane, Jonesboro, Georgia.
Is this where it happened at? Did it happen at one?
No, ma'am, nothing happened. Some police officers came and got me out my house.
That's not what I meant to say. So what's the address across the street? Do you know it?
164 and 156 Meadowlark Lane.
So they live at which one? 164 or which one?
They stay at 164
Okay.
Meadowlark Lane and 156 Meadowlark Lane, and I own 165 Meadowlark Lane,
Okay.
Jonesboro, Georgia.
So you can't, the 164 and what's the other one? 140.
156.
Okay. So don't go, so listen, I don't know what's true and not true. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I have to maintain the peace. So I don't want you to go there. So to 156 or 164. I wasn't clear about the addresses. That's why I'm changing it. When I did the paperwork, I wasn't sure about that. So now that that's clarified. So 156 and 164, I've already modified the bond, okay?
Okay, yes, ma'am, thank you.
All right, so I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Did you want to keep the hearing or did you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I don't really know what to do because I really don't know what happened. The police just came and got me out of my house, and those are teenagers that stay over there.
Ms. Dishcom, you want me to tell you what the allegations are? Because you have a right to know what you've been accused of. You want to know what the
I'll just rather wait to speak to my attorney.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a preliminary hearing date on June the 29th. Your attorney will come meet with you if you don't make the bond, okay?
Okay, and my charges are what? Simple assault, that's a misdemeanor, correct?
That's correct. You got 2 counts.
No, they said I only had 1 count.
On the warrant, it says 2. On
So
the,
now it says 2?
on the bond order is 1, but on the warrant, it's listed 2.
They didn't say anything about, okay, okay, there must be some mistake there, but okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. These charges can't hold.
All right, that's all the females, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome.
All right.
All right, yeah, all right.
You have Mr. Amor.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Moore, you've been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. The bond is 2,000. Improper lane change is 500. Red light violation is 500. And I dismissed the interference with government property charge. So your total bond is $3,000. Would you like to keep your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it? All right, your court date is going to be for June the 29th. How much money do you, oh, I see it. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Bo?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been charged with driving without a license. The bond is 1,000. Given a false name, address, and date of birth is 500. So your total bond is $1,500. Do you want to keep your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it? All right, it'll be set for June the 29th. How much did you make, how much money you make a month?
I'm not sure, but I make about 500 a week.
Okay. I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, the court date will be on the 29th if you don't make your bond.
Hey. Good morning, y'all.
Hey, Mr. Brown?
No, ma'am, do I take over?
What happened to Mr. Brown?
Brown?
Joseph Brown, Joseph Thomas Brown.
Oh, he bonded out, Your Honor.
Okay, all right,
Sorry about that.
no problem. All right. So you, Mr. Coleman? All right, Mr. Coleman, you've been charged with theft by taking. Do you know what these charges are about? Because they're from 2017.
I'm aware.
Okay. I was just trying to make sure you knew. That bond is 2,000. The battery bond is 2,000. So your total bond is 4,000. You have special conditions. You can't have any contact with George Murray. You can't return at 5622 Alder Drive in Forest Park, Georgia. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Do you want to keep your preliminary hearing or did you want to waive it?
I keep it.
All right, so your preliminary hearing will be on June the 29th. How much? Okay, you don't. And I've appointed an attorney to represent you. All right, you're welcome. You, Mr. Kaufman?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. You've been charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That bond is 3,000. A second count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That bond is 3,000. Possession of drug-related objects is 1,000. And possession of a weapon in the crime is 3,000. So your total bond is 3, 6, 9, $10,000. Would you like to keep your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it?
Keep.
All right, the court date will be on June the 30th. And based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you, sir.
What's your name?
Are you Mr. Ficklin? Yes or no? I didn't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Somebody's saying. Okay. All right, Mr. Ficklin, you've been charged with aggravated stalking. Your bond has been denied. Would you want to keep your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it?
Yes.
You say keep it?
Yes.
All right, so your court date will be June the 30th. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. You have any questions?
Yeah, I want to ask when they make these allegations or say that you did whatever it is you did, they have to provide proof that, you know what I mean, you did whatever it is that they said they did.
Yeah, so you remember earlier when I went over the rights you had, that's exactly what I said. that the state has to prove your innocence beyond a reasonable doubt at a trial. This is just first appearance. And so at the preliminary hearing, they have to prove that it's probable, which is a low burden, that the allegations are true. So
You know, you get there and it ain't true.
you said what?
So what happens, like, once you get to court and the allegations or whatever they said ain't true?
You don't do that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So at the preliminary hearing, if there's no probable cause found, then the case will be dismissed. So that's what the preliminary hearing is, to determine whether there's sufficient probable cause. So that's what's gonna happen on June 30th. You have any other questions? All right, thank you.
How you say that's honor?
All right, are you Mr. Furlong? All right, Mr. Furlong, you've been charged with driving under the influence. That bond is 5,000. Racing on highways or streets is 1,500. Reckless driving is 1,500. Improper lane change is 500. Open container violation is 500. So that's your total bond of $9,000. Do you want to keep your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it? You want to keep it? Okay. It will be on June the 29th. And based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent.
I'm gonna get my own. I got a job lined up for me.
Yeah, so I understand it, but based on the application, I'm gonna do it. If you have one, they'll be relieved from the case, so no problem. You can have anybody you want to represent you. But I just don't want you to sit there and can't get a lawyer, and then the court day happens and nobody's talked to you.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. All right, are you Mr. Gore? All right, Mr. Gore, you've been charged with improper lane change. That bond is 500. DUI less safe. Alcohol is 3,000. Would you like to keep your preliminary hearing or did you want to waive it? I didn't hear what you said. Yes, ma'am. You want to keep it or waive it? Okay. It'll be on June the 29th. If you make your bond, you won't have that court date. Based on your application, you actually make too much money, so you'll have to hire your own attorney. Okay? All right, thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Hunter? Mr. Hunter, you've been charged with driving without a license. The bond is 1,000. Failure to yield is 500. Open container is 500. Driving under the influence is 3,000. So your total bond is $5,000. Would you like to keep your preliminary hearing or did you want to waive it? You said waive it or keep it in hearing? Okay. So when you sign a waiver form, after you sign your name, make sure you print it as well. So I know that that form belongs to you. And I've appointed an attorney to represent you, okay? All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. That's it right there. Mr. You got Mr. Moore? Oh, okay, so you got next, you on?
Yeah, I had I had Scott next. Is Norbert there?
No, but I'm here. Yes, you on, he coming up.
Oh, they didn't send me his, they didn't send his paperwork. I have a bond order in his application, but they didn't send his bond paperwork. Incotech is gonna have to email it to me.
Okay.
You go on anytime, sir? Yeah, so I'll keep the paperwork in a while. You didn't?
I'll call him for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go ahead and finish everybody else.
Okay, you gonna say him last?
Yeah, I have Scott next.
Scott, that's you.
Yes, sir.
Get back to 1 second.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Scott, you've been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The bond has been denied. Pointing a pistol at another, the bond is 10,000, and public drunk is 1,000. Did you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Yes, but can I say something? Anyway, like I got shot 9 times. I'm on the spine, so I'm on a real thin mattress. And I'm supposed to have like a walker and stuff. I haven't had, so yesterday I feel I was urinating blood and spitting up blood. And I didn't get my medicine yesterday and stuff, so I'm real jacked up right now. I'm missing my therapy. I got spine appointment, and I'm not gonna be able to get in here. So you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna beat all the charges because all these stories are fabricated.
We're not here to discuss your case.
Sorry.
Okay. So, Mr. Scott, I understand that. I read all the warrants involved in your allegations. So based on that, right now, I can't give you a bond at first appearance. I am, however, going to appoint an attorney to represent you. So that's their job, is to advocate for you. So whatever needs that you're not having met, that you're saying are not being met, that's what they're gonna do for you. And they also will be able to speak with the district attorney's office to see if they can get a consent bond quicker than if you have the preliminary hearing. I don't know that will happen or not, but it happens often.
Yes, ma'am.
So did you want to keep the preliminary hearing date?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll keep the date and your lawyer will come meet with you in a few days so they can get you taken care of, and because that's their job, is to stand and act on your behalf.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so if not sooner, then your next court date will be June the 30th, but your lawyer may work something out before then with the state.
I hope so, because I definitely got spine appointments and all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So you have a lawyer now until your family hires one for you. So they'll be to see you there in a few days.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome.
Let you back. Good. Who you got next, Your Honor?
I have Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, you don't have a Roderick Moore?
I have Taylor, Vasquez, Walker, Williams, and Young. So no more.
Okay, my list got a Roderick Moore on it, so.
They didn't, well, I don't even have a bond order for him.
I already made one.
He already paid his bond.
Oh, then that's why. That's why I don't have it.
Okay.
Excuse me, I got a question for you.
Hold on one second. Let me finish filling out this last person's paperwork, and then I'll hear your question.
Hey, switch your foot. You need to come up a little bit. Yeah, that's about right there.
Are you Mr. Taylor?
No, man, I'm Roger Moore. I just had a question for you.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm trying to see what's the next step do I take now? I find it out last night.
If you bond it out, they'll release you. So, because they didn't, obviously they have it, because when they have it, then they didn't send your paperwork to me, which means they already have it in the system that you bonded out. So you should be getting out sometime today.
Okay.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, now are you Mr. Taylor? All right, Mr. Taylor, you've been charged with possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That bond is $1,500 and defective equipment is $500. So your total bond is $2,000. Did you want to keep your preliminary hearing or did you want to waive it? You said you might keep it? And how much money do you make a month, approximately?
I get paid $18 an hour, so I get paid at least 6 times a week.
Okay, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. The preliminary hearing date is on June the 29th. If you make bond, you won't have that court date. You'll get notice when to come back to court. All right, any questions?
That crazy.
All right, Mr. Vequez, you've been charged with battery. The bond is $4,000. You can't have any contact with Diana Martinez. Do you understand that? Do you understand that condition of your bond? All right. Did you want to keep your preliminary hearing or did you want to waive it?
Keep it, man.
All right. The date will be June the 29th. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Walker, you've been charged with battery, family violence. That bond is $3,000. Cruelty to children and in third degree is $2,000. You have a special condition to your bond. You cannot have contact with Monet Walthall. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep your preliminary hearing or did you want to waive it?
Keep it.
All right, the court date will be June the 29th. If you make bond, you won't have that court date. You'll receive notice when they come back to court. Do you have any questions? All right, and you actually make too much money, you'll have to hire your own attorney.
Yeah.
All right. Are you Mr. Williams? All right. Mr. Williams, you've been charged with DUI less safe. That bond is $3,000. Open container is $500. Improper lane change is $500. Your total bond is $4,000. You want to keep your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it?
About to keep it.
All right. The court date will be on June the 29th. If you make your bond, you won't have that court date. Based on your, how much do you make a month? Yeah.
$13 an hour. Basically a commission-based pay rate.
Yes, I just need an average for the month.
I'm gonna say 1500.
Okay. I've appointed an attorney to represent you based upon that. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
How you doing? Good morning.
Yes, are you Mr. Young? Mr. Young, you've been charged with criminal damage to property. Your bond is $1,000. You want to keep your preliminary hearing or do you want to waive it?
Keep it.
Okay, it'll be June the 29th.
Thank you. You have a good one.
All right.
They send you that paper yet?
No, they haven't sent it to. Did you call them? You told them?
Nah, I thought you were gonna shoot them an email. I can run up there though.
I can't do two things at one time. I was trying to get these people done.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna call them right now.
Okay. You did fill out that paperwork?
No, I gave it that money, it took off.
Oh, did you give it to that female deputy?
He came and got it. He came and got our paperwork, and he gave it to the, female.
What Wills?
Yeah, he came and got it. She gone. She left it in, medical. You don't leave anybody in medical, everybody gotta go for a appearance. That's why I just told her, I said, let her go get her. She gotta go for a appearance.
They still got that paperwork up there?
I don't know. You did one out like no, you already done it.
You already done it, then.
Is she looking for that?
They're not answering the phone, so if you might have to go there. It's just it went to voicemail.
Okay, Deputy Brown gonna go up there, Your Honor.
All right.
No.
He said he filled it out, so I don't know.
Okay. Oh, she finally answered. Okay.
Yeah, we filled it out about the same. Young boy. What's up, kid?
She said that they're looking for it. You probably want to send somebody up there so it'll go a little quicker.
Okay, Deputy Brown on his way up there.
Okay, all right, sound good.
As soon as he hit me on the radio, I let you know.
All right.
Go SO83. Claire, you bringing that female down from metal? Claire. Your Honor, Deputy Wilkerson says she bringing that female down to house unit 3 so you can see her from metal.
Okay, all right.
Your Honor.
Intake told me they couldn't find it.
No. Hey, who you gave that paperwork to? Oh, and that female already paid her bond. The one.
Okay, but Norbert, they looking for Nova's paperwork. They said they couldn't find it. Well, she calling me back. Let me see what she's saying. Hold on. They still don't have it. So we're still trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And you don't need to see that female since she bonded out, right?
We don't. Now that she bonded out.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, how are you? Okay.